Welcome along to 98 They're Out, the podcast edition. Glad to have you along today. I've got a really interesting guest, WG Rumblepants. Those of you from Twitter will know exactly who I'm talking about. Make sure you subscribe, tell your friends, spread the word, and let's get into it. A very great pleasure to welcome Mr. WG Rumblepants along to 98 Not Out. Good evening, sir.
Thanks so much for having me on. I've been looking forward to this.
So let's start. So in cricket, off the top of my head, there are three notable beards. And in no particular order, we've got Moeen Ali, we've got W.G. Grace himself, and now we've got W.G. Rumblepants. Tell me all about that fantastic bit of facial hair that you're sporting.
Well, that sort of evolved. I guess my dad had a beard, although it wasn't quite like mine. So facial hair was in the family. But I sort of, was relatively clean shaven until my daughter was born about 10 years ago. And then it sort of seemed to, just to creep a little bit. And I'd grow a beard when you go on holiday, come back from work, and then, people either sort of make a comment about it or they don't. And I kind of felt I got away with it. So I persisted. And then I had 1 year where I went away basically saved all my annual holiday up and went away for 4 weeks on the trot and kind of grew it out. And I quite liked it. I'm not sure everyone liked it in the family, but I quite liked it. And then I shaved it off. And then it was 1 year where I thought, I'm going to go to Lord's. I got tickets for Lord's. I think it was about 2017, 2018 maybe, to go and see England play West Indies at Lord's. I thought, I'm going to go to Lord's and grow the beard out. There was a bit of a fashion at that point of having a bit longer beards. I'm going to grow the beard out. I'm going to go as W.G. Grace, go to the home of cricket. I really enjoyed it. And I quite liked having the beard. And then I shaved it off again. And then it got to the stage where I was kind of getting to the end of the cricket season where I'd have a shave and then grow it back. And now I've kind of just gone, I'm not going to shave it off anymore. I quite like it. It's fun. It's a bit of a gimmick. And, I'm kind of stuck with it now, I think.
That's really good. I think you're right. I think there was a period where longer beards were fashionable. Yeah, it's probably about sort of 2015, 2016 around. I had a go myself back then, but it was a complete disaster. It was... my beard hair grows really straight. So I was just getting these sort of wisps that were coming straight out from my face, and it all looked a bit. And the longer they were getting, the more bizarre it looked. So I stick to growing my hair. I've just recently, through lockdown, grew my hair, which is a hark back to my younger days.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then somebody said that I look like a tramp, which kind of hit a bit of a nerve. So
it is quite funny because by profession I'm a lawyer, and I thought, how am I going to get away with this beard? And I went into a meeting with a client that I'd done stuff with, for a few years, but I hadn't seen them for a little while. And I sat down, and they came in, and they were like, "Oh, bloody hell, that's brilliant!" And I thought, well, if I can get away with it with them, then I'm gonna persist with it. But I'm quite lucky because it is sort of relatively dark and relatively wavy, as Grace's was. So it kind of it helps with the resemblance when I go on cricket.
Particularly when you got the cap on, it's spooky.
Yeah. Well, I haven't quite got his height. I am working towards his girth, unfortunately. But it's just, it really is just a bit of fun. My daughter quite likes it because every time we go to the cricket together, and she's only 9, she's pretty much guaranteed to get a shot on the TV sat next to me. So she's like, "No, you can't shave it off now. We have to go to the cricket, and you have to keep the beard."
It's fantastic. Now, you're really prolific and entertaining on Twitter. For those of you that are listening or watching this that aren't aware, strongly suggest that if you have a Twitter account, or if you don't have a Twitter account, open a Twitter account and then search for @WG_Rumblepants and just thank me later. It's such a good account. always entertaining, always good stuff, very, very active. But you've just sort of jumped to a new level this last week or so. You are an absolutely superb artist, and I think you've been doing this for quite a while, because you put a montage up the other day of some of your earlier works, quite uncannily photographic. How do you achieve that effect?
Yeah, so I do all my art on my iPad, and it's really a feature of my commute. I have this, an hour each way, and that's kind of dead time. I try not to work on the train because work's busy enough, and but when I leave the office, I try and leave the office, and that time on the train is my time to unwind in the evening, or kind of get my head sort of awake in the morning.
Yeah, I hear you. I do the same.
And I've always liked art, and I've always done art since I was a little kid. But art at the best of times is quite messy, especially if you paint. So taking paints on the train isn't going to happen. So when the Apple Pencil came out, that kind of gave me a new opportunity to do art at times I wasn't doing it, and it's quite versatile, and it's just I find it really relaxing, and that's why I do it. I do it to unwind and just calm myself down, and because when you're doing that, you clear your head. And the way I kind of work is I try and choose a really interesting photo from Getty Images and sort of work from that as reference. And it's just a process of building up the layers, really, and building up the colours, getting the vague shapes right, and the sort of the colour palette right, and slowly building up the detail. And I kind of find the more time I spend slowly building up the detail, the more photorealistic I can get. So that's kind of what I've been playing with. I could go in another direction and sort of make it slightly more kind of blocky and impressionistic, but I quite like the challenge of capturing the detail.
Yeah, it really is amazingly good. So some of the recent works, Johnny Bairstow, Mike Atherton, Jimmy Anderson, but you went to a new level when you did Ravi Ashwin just recently, and it got picked up on the subcontinent. Was it the Hindustan Times?
a few days, yeah. I kind of he was topical. Obviously, he'd come back into the India side. There had been a lot for the last few months about run-outs from the non-strikers end, and he was obviously a bit of an instigator of that. So I thought, well, actually, this is a good time to try and to do him, and he's a player I've always admired. And I found a really nice reference photo that was quite a lot of sort of dark and shade and colour, and chose to work from that. And actually, I wouldn't say it's the portrait I'm most pleased with, but I was kind of happy enough and put it out there, and luckily other people liked it. So that's that's nice. It's not kind of why I do them, and I'm not I don't sell them or make any money from them. I just kind of do them to wind down. But it's nice when other people pick it up and like it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, have you had any requests from your subjects to have a copy printed off for them?
I have, yeah. So I had when I did one of Catherine Brunt probably about a year ago.
Oh yeah, good one.
Actually, Nat Siver messaged me and said, "Can I have a copy of that one?" I did one of Alex Stewart, and Alex Stewart's wife wanted a copy, so that was really nice because I'm a Surrey member anyway. So meeting Alex Stewart to give him that print was really nice. And he gave me a really special Surrey baseball cap that he'd signed, and he said it's not one you can buy in the Surrey shop. It's one of the set that I had printed for the first Surrey first team, when they won the championship. So it's kind of black with gold Surrey logo on, and he signed that in gold pen. So that was really nice. And there's one of Heather Knight that I did that I think ended up in the Somerset museum. So Brilliant. That's there's a few that have been printed out, and I did one for the Johnny Bairstow one. We had printed out, and that went in a charity auction for the charity team that I'm involved with, the Metronomes, and so that was nice. So there's a few floating out there, but most of the time, because people are very kind in the way they share them on Twitter, the people that I painted have seen them and at least have commented. So that's nice.
When you said it was Nat Silverbrand that asked you on behalf of Catherine.
Yeah,
So
that's right. Yeah.
If it'd been Catherine, it might have been, I want a picture of that. Let me hurry up about it.
Yeah, no, it's just nice that people like them, and it's nice to get that feedback.
I'm being a bit cheeky because she was caught in a bit of Twitter crossfire today about.
I saw that. Yeah, I mean, I said to people at the time, because there was some debate about it. In an intense situation like that, the emotion and the passion are understandable. My take on it is that she has to be a little bit careful, because there's a lot of girls and kids watching who see her as a role model, and she is a role model. So I don't, I don't think it's a massive issue, but she has to be aware of the way it looks on TV and the way it comes across. And I think that's all it is. Someone just needs to say, you need to have a think about that when you're in those moments sometimes.
Yeah. Now, one of your other portraits that you did, if I can call them portraits, which again was picked up in probably the most impressive way, was your picture of Virat Kohli, no less. And
that was fun. That was fun, because I did that and put it out there, and it got a good response. I don't think I hadn't done that many, or I hadn't done that many that had been picked up by India, I suppose, at that point at least. But the one person that did see that was Lord Patel, when he was still Chairman of Yorkshire. And he messaged me and he said, I really like this, and I'm going out to India in a few months. So if I'm hoping to see Virat. So if I see him, I'll show him. And I'd kind of forgotten about it. And I was on holiday in France in August, probably about 3 months later, having dinner in the evening with the family, and all of a sudden we get this message on Twitter from Lord Patel, and it's a picture of Virat holding his phone with my portrait of Virat. And Virat, I was like, oh my, that's astonishing. I said, text Lord Patel back and say, well, thanks so much. That's brilliant. I'm really grateful. Have you seen this other one I've just finished? And it was the Johnny Bairstow. So I sent him the copy of the Johnny Bairstow on the message, and he said, oh, I've just showed that to Virat. He really likes that one as well, and his wife really. I was like, oh, you're actually there with him now. So that was kind of slightly mind blowing, that I was messaging Lord Patel, and at the other end of the phone, he's standing there next to Virat Kohli, showing him my work. So that was took a while to get my head around that one.
Unbelievable. So here we are at the end of February, and those of us that follow cricket, interested in cricket, or dare I say passionate about cricket, the blood is just starting to flow a little bit. The evenings, the days are getting longer. There's a little bit more sunshine in the air. It's still a bit too blimmin' freezing for my liking, but everyone's smelling, or can almost smell, the freshly mown lawns, the outfields, the tendered wicket. Are you revving up for the 2023 season here?
Yeah, it sort of feels that I haven't quite stopped, because I'm involved in my local club and I run the academy at my local club. So there's quite a lot already going on in the background to get that going. Actually,
what club is that? Give them a plug.
Saffron Walden. It's a successful and pretty big club, in that we've got 4 men's teams that play on a Saturday, a midweek team, Sunday team, a women's team, a disability team, and various girls teams as well, and all the age group stuff. So it's a pretty sizable Premier League club.
No, I didn't know that. My club's Billericay.
Oh, okay, not too far away then.
Yeah,
so, I've been there. No. So that takes a bit of organising behind the scenes, and then in Saffron Walden, they're not related to the cricket club. It's just something that get put on. Is a Boxing Day match on our common here. So me with a few friends and my son had fun running around in the mud on Boxing Day. Actually, it was a nice day playing cricket on the common in Saffron Walden. So it doesn't quite feel that it stopped. But I am really, really looking forward to the start of the club season and the professional season, and getting back and watching first class cricket again, particularly.
Yeah, and England are going from strength to strength. It's just a shame, and I think I'm not alone in saying that. I stay up as long as I can, but work dictates that you need to have some sleep, and particularly on the first day of this test, when you go to bed at 21 for 3, and then you wake up and several runs later and no wickets fallen. It's almost sort of thinking, oh, can I stay up? Can I stay up? But this baseball experiment, if you want to call it that, is just getting better and better.
Yeah.
And we're such a long way from where we were 12 months ago.
Well, that was what I was going to say. If you compare the experience of waking up in the morning this winter to last winter, it's a rather different story. Because I think we all got used to the experience of checking our phones or checking the score or watching up to a certain point. And, England will either be doing well or not last year, normally not. And you go to bed, wake up and you check the score and you'd be dreading it loading. And then your fears would be confirmed. They've failed again. They've capitulated. And last night and this tour has been a rather different experience, because 3 down, and you think, oh well, maybe this is the time that baseball is not going to come off, and you turn off and go to sleep. And in the morning, you dread it loading up. 315 for 3 or whatever, and you can't, and it's a different world, isn't it? And there were still failures. The top 3 didn't come off, but other people did. And Joe Root is batting like Joe Root, and Harry Brook is being incredible. And that would have just been in no one's mind 12 months ago that we'd be in this position now.
No, it's fantastic, and just to kind of ratchet up the excitement even more, as well as England are doing, Australia, it's almost like watching a carry-on movie, isn't it, with what they're getting up to in India and the various on and off-field exploits.
Yeah, it is, but I'm trying not to read too much into that, because obviously India is about the most difficult place you can go and tour, and there have been upsets on that tour, and I'm not sure after the first test that I think they all seemed quite shell-shocked. And obviously Cummins has had to return home now. Agar has returned home. So it doesn't feel like it's going to get any easier for them going forward in this series. But, a full-strength Australia bowling in England is going to be a different story. And, the quality of their attack is right up there. We may have seen the last of David Warner, which will be a shame, actually. I was hoping to see him, another one final battle perhaps with Stuart Broad, but we may not get that. But there are other players, both in the current team and who are ready to come back into that team. I think it's going to be a really great contest this summer between England and Australia. I'd actually, in some ways, and that's the problem with those series down under. There's no equality of contest, and what most fans really want is a great contest between those teams. And that's what 2005 was about, wasn't it? It was close, and that was what made it so good. So, and we haven't had a series quite like that with Australia for a long time. And
we need Davey Warner there as just the pantomime villain of the piece as well.
Exactly. Exactly. You've got Smith and Labuschagne, who are sort of fruitcakes in their own way, but they're not, you don't have that pantomime villain quality. And I'm not sure that the Australian team have quite got anyone other than Warner, because I think we've all, for those of us who have watched that test documentary on Amazon, they're annoyingly likable. So
very good series.
Hopefully the intensity and the banter and a little bit of needling will come back in as we get closer to the Ashes, but I think it could be a really good series.
That's right. Well, listen, I'll let you get on. I know you're a busy man, and look forward to you sharing this and spreading the word for us, and we'll do the same for you on social media. But I look forward to catching up again soon, and probably, given your cricketing proximity, I'm sure that there'll be a chance to lock horns on the pavilion balcony and exchange a few pleasantries. I'm sure that can be arranged over the summer.
I'll happily buy a beverage.
Yeah. As long as it's cold and strong, I don't care. I'll just have whatever you bring.
All right. Okay.
Absolute pleasure. WG Rumblepants. Remember, on Twitter, at WG_Rumblepants. And as I said earlier, you'll thank me later. In the meantime, many, many thanks, and we'll catch up soon.